Now with the most local news, this is 8 News Now, live local now.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at 10 in the morning at the Streaming Center. I'm Ozzy Mora.
I'm John Langler. Thanks a lot for waking up with us, and thanks for dodging the wind, if at all possible, this morning.
It woke me up overnight. I'm sure you talked about it during Good Day.
Just a bit, just a little bit.
Just a tad bit.
In fact, this morning, when I leave my house at about 2:15ish in the morning, yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Early.
I was supposed to put out the trash this morning, and I just didn't. So I'm just gonna have a stinky garage for a week
You
because
couldn't find your trash?
Well, no, I didn't want to
Blown
put it out.
away?
I didn't want it to get blown up to Esmeralda County. So I thought I'd play it safe and keep it in my garage. So
No, that's what happened to some of my bins. They were all across my area. They were one across the street. It was pretty chaotic.
We'll talk to Sherry about the weather forecast in a second, but we should start with a wind-related event that happened down near Boulder City this morning. We covered this on Good Day. A portion of I-11 was closed for a fair chunk of the morning commute after 3 tractor-trailer semi-trucks turned over. They were essentially blown over by the wind. That's the scene there that we had on I-11. Again, this is near the intersection with US 95 and the Boulder City highway that goes into Boulder City itself. So because all these trucks got blown over by the wind, they had to get them uprighted again. They got everything that was inside those trucks sorted out, and they closed down the highway. It wasn't a huge backup because there's a way to get around it that's pretty easy, but just a sign of when you hear Nate and Sherry talk about, high wind advisories and high profile trucks, that's what we're talking about.
That is so scary. I believe troopers were saying that one driver wasn't hurt, and then 2, I believe, were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Again, information on our website. So that's what leads us to our story, the big story today. Winter storm targets the valley. So if you're stepping outside right now, we're in a brief lull. But don't let the sunshine fool
and don't
you.
step outside now. We have a whole nother half hour of this program to come that you're going to want to stick around for. Sherry,
watch us on the phone.
And Sherry Swenson's here with the forecast. Sherry, good morning to you.
As you mentioned, the most important segment of the streaming half hour
is yours.
We're
Whatever
getting to
Sherry's
weather.
involved in is the most important one.
You guys, as Ozzy mentioned, cans down, garbage everywhere this morning. And those winds were no joke overnight, probably kept a lot of people awake. And when those winds get that serious that they can ever actually tip over 18-wheelers, we're talking some serious winds. Now, that wind advisory has been extended all the way into early tomorrow morning. As you can see there, that camera shot from our TI camera, flag is really whipping on top of the Rio. Beautiful snow in the mountains. In fact, Lee Canyon is reporting 8 inches of snow from yesterday's storm. We've got 3 of these waves that are coming through this week, so we're not done, and temperatures are going to continue to get colder and colder. We're going back to winter. I hope you guys are ready for that. Beautiful sunshine today. So the rain for the valley, we picked up upwards of about 1/10 of an inch in just some South Valley neighborhoods, 4/10 of an inch out at Red Rock. Today we get a break. We get the sunshine. The winds will stay relentless, though. They have still been gusting up to near 40 miles an hour. So the National Weather Service decided to keep that wind advisory in place. Officially, rainfall totals at the airport only 0.03 of an inch. So as you can see, for the year, we're way behind. We're only at 0.17 of an inch for this time. And by mid-February, we should be up closer to an inch. So we get another chance of some showers coming through tonight into early tomorrow. We could see another 1/10 to even 2/10 of an inch if the rain's heavy enough. It's only going to last till early tomorrow morning, and then it moves on out. More snow in the mountains. Winter storm warnings are still in place. And then by Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening, more chances for showers. Every model run is looking different with these next 2 waves, so those could even change. You got to stay tuned to Ted Florendo and just make sure Nate Tannenbaum at noon and me, of course, in the mornings. And let's just see what the newest model runs bring for us. So that's what's going on. And then by the weekend, we are into sunshine and getting back to milder, almost 70 degrees next week. So that next system's already moving down the coast of the West Coast, and it will bring those chances for rain and mountain snow again to our area by tonight. In the meantime, we got to put up with the wind, and it's fierce out there. As I mentioned, up to 45-mile-an-hour winds. Wind advisories in effect until tomorrow morning. 60 degrees. That'll be down about 8 degrees from yesterday, and not only down today, but down tomorrow to the cooler 50s. We'll keep 50s for the next several days. Mornings in the 30s. So that's great for keeping that snow frozen. So still looking for upwards of 2 feet of snow up at Lee Canyon.
The more the better.
Yeah.
They
need
it.
snow up there, and we need some more rain as well. So, all right, another taste of winter. Winter's not over. Spring doesn't arrive for another month or so.
just felt like it for about 2 months.
For about a month and a half, it felt like spring, right?
It sure
Since the new
did. I
year.
know a lot of people, or I was messaging, they're limiting their travel right now due to the winds, and they're scared to drive.
Well, yeah, and then if you had any plans to go to California, that's
Yes.
dicey. They've already had a couple of 3 feet of snow in the mountains and a lot of rain, up to 3 to 5 inches in the lower elevations.
So you're better off staying inside and watching us. It's much safer inside. Thanks,
Don't
Sherry.
go outdoors.
Yeah. Thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Stay safe out there, everyone. Civil rights icon Jesse Jackson dies at 84 years old. Reverend Jesse Jackson passed away peacefully today in Chicago, according to his family. Jackson was a monumental figure in American history, serving as a lieutenant to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and twice running for president, making history as the first Black candidate to win major primaries. He was 84 years old. He had been battling a rare disorder for some time as well. Jackson founded some background to his legacy. Jackson founded the Rainbow Push Coalition to fight social justice and corporate diversity. He was also awarded the U.S. Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2000 by former President Bill Clinton for his lifelong advocacy. Even with his health, family, friends say he remained a vocal advocate for voting rights until his final days.
He was a towering figure in civil rights for decades, as you mentioned, dating back to the 1960s, originally from the Southeast, but had really made his mark with Dr. King and in the 1960s in Chicago as well with his Push Coalition. And it's interesting, his advocacy for civil rights here during Black History Month is so important and so well renowned. But he was also involved in other things aside from that, working with presidents on trying to negotiate hostage releases in some cases. He broke into tears when former President Obama was inaugurated for obvious reasons. So a towering figure in civil rights has sadly lost his life at the age of 84.
Yeah, public memorial services are expected in Washington, D.C. and also Chicago, where leaders are also going to be joining there as well.
Back here in the Valley, let's talk about driving safety, something that we talk about a lot here on 8 News Now because, quite frankly, there was way too many crashes. Metro Police yesterday highlighted the desire and the need for all drivers to just follow the rules, basically, something simple, urging drivers to follow due care laws, as they're called. Essentially, exercise due care when you're driving. The reason? Well, we talk about all these crashes. So far this year, again, we're only, halfway through February, 20 people have lost their lives just in Metro's jurisdiction. There have been nearly 2,000 crashes of various different kinds of severity. All of that is motivating Metro Police to step up their efforts to educate, to enforce, and to just remind all of us to not speed, to be aware of what's around you. And the same for pedestrians as well. Just be aware when you're out and about on the roads because we're just seeing far too many of these crashes.
Police, they say this over and over again. They say that it should be common sense, but people keep forgetting, and this is the problem. So also with this safety plan, they say that and warn that zero tolerance during this period. So basically you will, meaning citations will be issued, okay? There will be no warning. So just keep that in mind. Just, do due care, be cautious, take your time, slow down, and just be aware of your surroundings as always. The rise of the solo traveler.
Yes.
There you go.
Road trips.
Right. So solo vacations have officially transitioned to, let's say, from a hobby to basically a 400 billion movement this year. So in other words, a lot of people are traveling by themselves. So new data for this year shows a massive surge in solo travel searches. So people are looking up like where to go, the safest routes, the top places to go. Well, actually, the top place, according to this research, is Australia, followed by Iceland. Japan is number one, which
As it
is
should be.
awesome,
Yeah.
And then many travelers also, too, are now taking solo honeymoons to kind of recharge. So these are called me moon instead of
I was going to say a solo honeymoon would be kind of awkward unless
That's
you
why
call
it's
it
called
something
me
else.
moon.
Yes.
A me moon.
Where'd you guys go on your honeymoon? Well, I went here and she went there.
We love our
strange.
space.
Well, that's kind of the motivation
Yeah.
for solo vacations like this. And it kind of brings up our question of the day with solo vacations on the rise. Daryl?
Yes, good morning, you guys. We just wanted to know, viewers, have you taken a solo trip? Ozzy was just speaking on the explosion that it's taking right now, and a lot of people are getting out there, and I have not, and I feel like I haven't lived now.
Well, you're missing out. I've done many solo trips. I love it, but I like to sort of get out, take pictures, explore. But it's nice to take trips with a significant other as well. But there's a perk to maybe being able to call your own shots.
Absolutely. Plus, you get to meet different people. Obviously, you have to be safe about it. I know several apps have kind of used AI to launch, where to go, like the safe routes and, to where to have these dinners, to meet different people that are also taking a solo trip. So I think it's fascinating. I haven't done it yet, but I would love to. Why not? Live your life.
Yeah, it's the idea. We'll revisit the question of the day later on. Use the QR code, go online. Have your say on solo vacations. Dial into that wanderlust, that eat, pray, love vibe.
Absolutely. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Take a chance. We'll see you soon.
More 8 News Now after this.
Now with the most local news, this is 8 News Now, live local now.
Welcome back to the big program here on a Tuesday morning. Hard to deny the fact that during the break, Ozzy and I were just looking up solo trip vacation plans mutually on our cell phones, just a skosh.
Talking about one-way flights.
Yes.
With just one way.
Not coming back, eh? I see.
I'm just kidding.
It's a solo show from now on. Let's go to the east side of town here. East Side Cannery in the future. Well, there isn't much of a future for the East Side Cannery over on Boulder Highway. As Boyd Gaming has announced the demolition date for the East Side Cannery. Now, that complex, that hotel casino, was open for about 12 years. It closed during the pandemic and it never reopened. And Boyd Gaming decided some time ago that they were not going to reopen it, and now they're finally taking it down. It was interesting because if you drive on Boulder Highway when it was open and when it was not, before it had been sort of pre-demolished, it looks so brand new still compared to Sam's Town right next door.
Right.
But there's just not the market out there, and so Boyd Gaming's going to demolish it and do something else with the land.
Well, I think that's the whole point, right? They want to modernize, the other properties there, Boulder City. I think that's one of the goals as well. One thing, though, I did read, I wanted to see if you could see the implosion. There's no public viewing for this one.
Okay,
I was reading. I'm still getting familiar with this,
So this will be, the demolition is going to be 2 a.m. on March 5th. And they said no public viewing. But my thought to that is, how can you have a private demolition? Like it's if you're driving by on Boulder Highway, everybody can see it. What are you talking about?
They
But
may
anyway,
put a tarp. Who knows?
it's no public viewing. But
Yeah.
if you happen to be on the Boulder Highway and if you look real close, you might see a huge building get demolished at 2 o'clock in the morning.
If you're driving at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Sorry,
you never
my-
know.
Grammar in English.
All right, child care crisis hits Southern Nevada. Well, has been actually. There's a massive backlog in state subsidy payments, and it's pushing a local daycare to the brink of closure. Actually, several daycares we've been reporting on, not just this one. So this one is Cherished Legacy Academy. Enrollment dropped from 180 children to just 20. That's huge. The delay here, the state's transition to direct payment management has resulted in 9-month delays for some renewals. So this impacts them. Also, the impact is low-income families are losing access to care and forcing many families to have to quit their jobs because what do I do? Where do I leave my child? It costs a lot of money. The funding gap was triggered by the end of pandemic era federal relief. So you may remember the Urban League. A lot of families use this to basically help pay for daycare. That kind of stopped. And now it just shifting to a state-run model. So basically families now have to apply via the state, which is a little bit complicated. Now the income limit for a family of 4 has been slashed to $39,000 to kind of cover if you qualify for a certain type of payment plan or coverage. So there's a lot of moving parts. Advocacy groups are calling on the Nevada legislature to hold emergency hearings, warning that the collapse of these small businesses will definitely impact permanent shortage of childcare across the valley. So how are parents going to get to work? And it's already so expensive, John.
Yeah, and that backlog of the
Yeah.
payments to these daycares in town is really the holdup. The state says it's going to try and improve its infrastructure to get the payments out quicker and stop that backlog. But for now, it's really a holdup.
It is. You can read more about this on our website. Our Josh Pagero has been covering this story.
Quite the visit yesterday here in Las Vegas. A name that may be familiar to you. Temple Grandin was in town visiting to talk about autism awareness as she is trying to empower the autism community, the special needs community, for advocacy and what parents can do, and just talk about her own experience. Temple Grandin is a longtime autism advocate. She's an animal science professor at Colorado State University, previously one of Time's most influential people in the U.S., and she has an amazing story. We did speak with her yesterday at this event here in town about what she has learned and some of her suggestions of how to help children with autism as maybe parents are struggling and children are struggling.
Yeah, so the school that she attended, New Horizons Academy, just for some reference, this is a school that helps families and kids with learning disabilities. So ADHD, dyslexia, autism. So it's very specific. So that's why she attended. Now I know a lot of parents when they listen and they need advice, what do I do? And she does the biggest thing for her. She urges parents to really focus on their children on having that real world experience and not to wait. A lot of parents, and several reports I've done, they wait until they receive or get a proper diagnosis for their child, and then they start the therapy or whatever you feel is right for your child. But she says you could start at home. Now is the time. And it's just really important for their future, John.
Let's hear from Temple Grandin.
Yeah.
It's very important that we start working with these young children really early. If you have a 3-year-old that's not talking, the worst thing you can do is wait 2 years and just let them zone out on phones and tablets. That's the worst thing you can do. You need to start working on speech, teaching them how to take turns at games, teaching them basic skills like using utensils when they eat.
Very cool, very neat to hear from Temple Grandin, such a powerful voice in the community. And there was a movie about her as well on HBO Max, I believe. So that is the story of Temple Grandin. We are glad that she was here in town.
All right, prescription costs spike 2026 this year. So manufacturers have raised prices in more than 300 brand name drugs since the start of the new year, including treatments for diabetes and migraines. The government has negotiated lower prices for certain high-care Medicare costs like drugs. So many commercial insurance holders are seeing out-of-pocket costs climb. So that's kind of the situation there. The price hike comes at a tricky time. There are new federal rules for this year that have capped total out-of-pocket spending for Medicare. There's so much information to this. Also, the cap is a win actually for seniors, but experts do warn that the insurance companies may respond by narrowing their formula, meaning they might start covering certain brand names. So there's a whole lot to this. Mary Jane also worked on this story, John.
Yeah, it's prescription drugs is such an expense for people depending on your medications. It can really be a burden. So there's a big effort on a federal level, on a local level to try and cut prescription costs, and companies that are trying to step up as opposed to others that are trying to charge you a lot more. We'll have much more 8 News Now coming up right after this. Stay tuned.
Now with the most local news, this is 8 News Now, live local now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ozzy Mora. This is John Langler. If you're just joining us, we're going to start with our question of the day. We talked about a rise in solo travelers, which I think is fantastic. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
A lot of things, the conversation around traveling by yourself has changed as well.
Well, Daryl, what's our question of the day?
Yes, we just wanted to know, have you, our viewers, taken a solo trip yourself? Grand View Research says that more than 2/3 of women make up the explosion that we've seen recently in the people wanting to take solo trips. And so far, our viewers are saying that, yes, they have. And I think we should clarify maybe what counts. Do you have to stay somewhere for X amount of days? Because just traveling isn't necessarily a trip or a vacation.
Yeah, we're not talking about going to the grocery store here. We're talking about like going out of town or flying somewhere.
Yeah, getting a hotel room by yourself, the whole nine.
Well, also too,
itinerary.
Driving to the gym is not a solo trip in this conversation.
No, but I mean, a lot of hotels too and companies are kind of shifting their models, like how they have their hotels. They have actual spaces now where if you're traveling by yourself, you can hang out there with other solo travelers, which I think is fantastic. It's kind of a shift in the hospitality industry too.
So where would you go?
I told you first Mexico because I'm familiar, but I would love to go to Japan.
Okay, Daryl, what do you reckon?
There's
Solo
a bunch.
trip.
There's a lot of
Solo
states. There's some states in the Carolinas that are on my to-do list. I just want to see a lot of the U.S. that I haven't seen.
Not you want to go overseas?
I do, but we'll get there. You know,
Really baby steps.
They're not going anywhere. Whatever.
I mean, you mentioned a really good resource, John, in terms of planning your trip.
AI. I said that at the top of the show. You credit John.
Well, that's why he gets paid the
Like,
big
yeah,
bucks.
John.
Ozzy, you also brought up a really good point about
Thank
AI
you.
earlier today.
Thank you for acknowledging me.
Have your say on 8newsnow.com/vote. Use the QR code and take a solo trip and tell us all about it.
All right, John, let's talk about Mardi Gras.
All right, love Mardi Gras. I've been in New Orleans before on a
You
solo
just
trip.
travel everywhere.
Well, I tried.
You are
A road
amazing.
tripper. Today is Mardi Gras. It is Fat Tuesday, of course, and Bourbon Street has been wild already this morning. This is a look at some of the celebrations they had yesterday in New Orleans for the beginning of Mardi Gras, Lundi Gras, since Lundi is French for Monday. So a big Fat Tuesday celebration as people are letting loose in New Orleans before Lent, which starts tomorrow.
So because I was talking with Daryl about this, today's Fat Tuesday, correct? Does the carnival
Feels like
end today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, today is like
Okay,
the end
okay.
of all the Mardi Gras celebrations in New Orleans.
Okay.
There's celebrations all over, but especially in New Orleans. It's so colorful. Those crews they have there spend so long putting together their floats and the parades. It's such a big communal thing. New Orleans is such a cool town.
The street celebrations, the music. You were there last year, Daryl? How was it?
Yeah, it was actually fun. I
Yeah?
was there right when the Super Bowl was coming and left before the big parades happened, but I got a feel. I got a feel
got
of
the
it.
vibe.
Definitely, yeah.
Did you do Bourbon Street though?
Certainly did. Handful of nights.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, sure did. We're gonna
Got to go back
quiet
for the
about
food.
it.
Yeah, the food I have not forgotten
enough.
at all.
All right, so we go from Mardi Gras, which is today, and Fat Tuesday is today. Also, today is the start of Lunar New Year, which is today. Plenty of events happening around the valley for that. So this is from downtown Summerlin, which has its annual parade tonight to start the Lunar New Year celebrations. There's a 15-day sort of spring festival. Some of it have already gone on. Some things are also planned for later this week. The Bellagio Conservatory has a great display right now, all up and down Spring Mountain in Chinatown. There's things going on, again, that have already been going on and then will continue to go on up through the weekend. The Spring Festival is in downtown Las Vegas as well. That'll be Saturday morning, 8th and Fremont. They'll have all sorts of parties and parades and everything else as well. So lots going on around town to mark the Lunar New Year.
Yeah, the downtown Summerlin Parade. Did you say it starts at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I don't know if I said that, but it does. Yeah.
Yeah, it starts at 6 o'clock. So much going on at the year of the fire horse, which I told you about yesterday. My daughter had to explain to me. We also told you about yesterday the event at the church that happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
And this is incredible, and this is a good time to celebrate culture, learn about it as well, and just be part of the community.
And eat some awesome food.
Absolutely.
That's the bare minimum. Eat some awesome food. That's the move.
Embrace traditions.
That'll do it for us this morning here on 8 News Now. We thank you so much for watching. Ozzy's back here at 2. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Bye.